Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. Nothing heals the wounds of social exile like your favorite pasta and some forced affection. Today in the rLounge, eat, pray, beg. Mother-in-law banned me from the trip I was paying, saying I wasn't family. I blocked my card, and they came back broke. I, 44 male, have been married to my wife, Meg, 39 female, for 15 years. We have 2 children, 13 and 10. We're a stable and happy couple for the most part. If there's one thing that's been a constant trouble in our relationship, it's my mother-in-law, Lily, 59 female. She's a piece of work, and I don't say that lightly. It's not new, though. From the day I met her, Lily's been on a quiet crusade to make sure I know that I'm not really part of the family. She's one of those high-key judgmental types hiding behind a polished exterior and fake politeness. Every interaction with her feels like walking on a glass floor over a pit of acid. One wrong step and she's melting faces, passive-aggressively, of course. In her eyes, I was never good enough, not successful enough. My father-in-law was in government service. Lily's brothers are also serving the government, so in her head, a respectable job means lawyers, doctors, or army. Anything beyond that is not dignified enough. Also, I don't come from a businessman family or have hordes of generational wealth, so I'm not rich either. Basically, I'm a loser. According to her, I must have somehow tricked her daughter into marrying me. Sure, I work in IT and do quite well for myself. I own a house, drive a decent car, and live responsibly. Despite this, Lily made it clear I was barely average, and she let that opinion bleed into everything. I think the only reason my marriage survived till now was because they lived states away from us, and whenever we met on special occasions, Meg would beg me to swallow my pride and keep things civil. So somehow, I have been smiling through the jokes about how Meg could have done better in keeping things afloat. Let me clarify. It's just Lily who has this weird notion. Father-in-law and sister-in-law are very decent and loving people. They always come to my rescue and try to mitigate the situation, but Lily is a controlling and unpredictable woman. If something doesn't happen her way, she'll throw fits and tantrums all over the place. To maintain the peace, father-in-law has been tolerating her for all of his life. This year, father-in-law retired from his service and then moved back to the city. They'd already built a retirement house here. Father-in-law got a huge farewell from his department. I even attended it, and it seemed like he was a respectable guy at work. Post the party, Lily came up with the idea to take a family vacation to Italy for her husband's retirement. My children were scheduled to go on their school trip, some summer camp sort of thing during that time. Meg and I thought it would be a good opportunity to bond. We hadn't been on a proper vacation in a while. I actually thought it was a nice idea and was more than happy to treat it as a gift for the family. I told Meg I'd cover our flights and hotels, just a gesture of goodwill. I get travel and hotel allowance as part of my quarterly bonus, which has been accumulated for a while. So why not use them now? Everyone seemed excited. Well, except Lily. She didn't outright say anything, but had this unpleasant, unconvinced expression with a stiff posture. I asked if she was okay, and she nodded yes. All right. We came back home. Meg and I started planning the itinerary of the trip. I made the bookings and sent the details to the family group chat. Everyone was excited to see the suites and homestays I booked except Lily. For anyone who knows her would get this. If she's quiet, it means there's a storm brewing ahead. Then, 2 days before we were supposed to leave, she showed up at our place unannounced. It was very unusual because she never drops by alone without father-in-law, and they always call first. I let her in and informed Meg about it. I left them alone and walked towards the bedroom because, I keep my arm's length away. That's when Lily called for me and said she was here to talk to me, and to this, Meg swiftly let us alone. It was evident that she knew what was coming. Seeing my history with my mother-in-law, it goes without saying that I was not at all comfortable. She started off by saying that she was worried I might feel out of place on the vacation. I asked her what that meant. She hesitantly let out that it might be better if this trip was just for the family. I lost it, and my voice naturally got louder. I asked if I was not family. I'm your daughter's husband. Are you saying your son-in-law is not your family? She defended that she meant the core family. Just she, father-in-law, and their daughters. I called out for Meg and asked if she knew. She embarrassingly admitted that she knew but didn't want to get in the middle of this. Lily kind of rebuked Meg for being timid and said, I've been telling her to inform you, but she won't just say it. What's the big deal if we want to have a private vacation? Can't we bond with our daughters? I swallowed my anger and said, Sure you can. Have a nice one. I was already so dang pissed, and I didn't want to indulge in any further and say something inappropriate for her age. So I stormed off to my room. I heard Lily leaving shortly after that. Meg came to pacify me. She tried to soften the blow, said Lily just wanted some bonding time with her daughters and husband. She was like, Dad is retired and is aging. That's why maybe Mom wants to have a vacation with just us to reminisce about the good old days when we were kids. So maybe you can set this one out, for everyone's sake. I didn't buy this BS and asked if she really wanted me to skip it, or is she saying this for her mother's sake? She hesitantly said, It might be easier to keep the peace. That one stung. I had zero interest in tagging along to a trip where I clearly wasn't wanted, but hearing it come from my wife was a punch in the gut. I said fine. If they didn't want me there, I'd stay. She brushed it off and later tried to cheer me up by making my favorite dishes, cuddling me in bed and trying to be sweet and romantic, but I didn't soften. I canceled my ticket and also the tower-facing suite I had booked for us in Paris, houseboats in Venice, and other accommodations across the country. If I'm not staying there, neither can she. On the day of the trip, she left with her family planting goodbye kisses and hugs as if she was pacifying a crying toddler with a bunch of candies. I didn't make a scene, didn't argue, didn't say anything, just waited. 2 days into their trip, while they were sipping wine in Tuscany or whatever, I canceled all further bookings for the rest of the vacation, which was like 10 more days. Hotels, tour guides, and even their return tickets. Not only that, I blocked the card that Meg was carrying. Yes, I had secured some money on my card, which I was intending to use for the food and other activities, which very conveniently Meg carried with her. I didn't stop when she pulled it out from the drawer and slipped it into her wallet right in front of me. I knew what I had to do next. I wasn't going to eat thousands of euros in expenses while being treated like an outsider. If I wasn't family enough to come, then my card wasn't family enough to pay. It didn't take long for the chaos to start. At 4 a.m. my time, my phone blew up. Missed calls from Meg, texts from her sister, even one from Lily herself. Grow up. This is childish and vindictive. On the third day, when they traveled from Tuscany to Florence and went to check in at the hotel, they found out that the booking had been canceled. Helplessly, they tried to book at the counter, but the hotel was full. Maybe they hunted for another one with empty rooms, and when my darling wife swiped her card to pay, it got declined. I instantly got the notification. The others pitched in, maybe to book that one. It was not at all. They had to pay for their fancy dinners, which were initially supposed to be covered by my corporate meal card. The complimentary spa sessions, tour guides, and all the other activities were all gone. A guided tour was halted mid-intro because the payment didn't go through. Meg was panicking. They had to ask a distant family friend, who happened to live in Florence, for help with the hotel tab, and Lily ended up calling her brother and nephew to wire them some emergency funds. The group went from eat, pray, love to broke, beg, borrow in less than 48 hours. Meg finally got through to me on the phone and screamed that I humiliated her. I calmly said, You made it clear I wasn't family, so I acted accordingly. Enjoy the bonding experience. Click. A day later, her dad called me. Not to yell. He apologized. Said he had no clue about the plan to exclude me. Apparently, Lily and Meg handled everything behind his back. He sounded exhausted and honestly embarrassed. He thanked me for the original intention of funding the trip and said he wished I'd been there instead. He said when I didn't show up with Meg, he inquired about me, only to be told that I had some last-minute urgencies at work, hence couldn't make it. The same story was told to her sister, who, by the way, was traveling with her boyfriend. Surprise! Lily had no problem having him around because he was some rich real estate businessman's son and had hordes of generational wealth. The real stinker was that my wife also didn't protest why her sister's boyfriend was allowed but not her husband, who was paying for the effing trip. I wondered why this rich lad didn't pick it up when the whole trip fell apart, because why would he? As per father-in-law, which I came to know later, he said to sister-in-law, Your folks aren't my responsibility. I can fill it in for you if you ask, but not for everyone. The day before the trip, sister-in-law announced in the group chat that her boyfriend would be tagging along, and no one said a word. The guy had done all of his bookings himself separately. I had no grudge with him. I didn't even know him. Actually, by then, I wasn't angry anymore as I was patiently waiting for my revenge to work. And it worked. When sister-in-law and father-in-law asked Meg why I canceled the bookings and blocked the card, she spit out the truth. She blamed Lily and accepted that she had asked me to stay out to avoid the conflict. That's when father-in-law called me to apologize. The same evening, sister-in-law texted me separately and said I did the right thing. Lily had been unbearable the whole trip, fussing and micromanaging everything and blaming everyone else for the financial disaster they were now dealing with. She said, "Honestly, it's kind of funny. She deserved the reality check." By the fourth day, sister-in-law and her boyfriend announced that they would be vacationing separately from the group as Lily had become a pain in the butt. At last, Meg was stuck with Lily and father-in-law. She didn't carry all her cards because why would she need them when she had her husband's? The ones she carried maxed out in 2 days. The same happened with Lily and father-in-law's. They just carried enough cash to buy some souvenirs and low-end purchases. They thought everything was booked, and in case they needed more, sister-in-law's millionaire boyfriend was there to fund it. Joke's on them, he didn't even treat them to a dinner once. Father-in-law lashed out at Meg and Lily and ordered them to save the trip or else he'll abandon them and book the first flight home. Meg and Lily somehow borrowed from friends and relatives and saved the trip for father-in-law. The greater chaos happened when they reached the airport to board the flight back home. They were denied entry because obviously their tickets were canceled. They were too stupid to think I would spare this one. Again, they borrowed and booked the tickets on the spot, which was way expensive than if they had booked it earlier. Sister-in-law's boyfriend was pissed off, telling her she should stay away from her toxic mother, and two right in front of Lily. They somehow managed to come back, and Meg has been furious with me since. She stormed inside the house and lashed out at me, saying I should have informed them about the cancellations so they could prepare themselves. She was like, "We didn't leave you at the airport. We informed you in prior, and with a valid reason. You went so far as to make us beg in a foreign land." I said, "I'm not falling for your victim card. You called this on yourself, and what reasons do you have for the fact that your sister's boyfriend was welcomed but not I, who was their son-in-law for 15 years? Why didn't you protest? And why didn't you take a stand for me when your mother excluded me? What happened in the core family bonding and reminiscing about childhood stuff?" She had no answer. She silently pushed off to the bedroom. I said, "It's not over. The way you plucked me out is not sitting well in our marriage, and I'm definitely not going to let it slide." It's been 3 days since then. She's trying to apologize and talk out the matter, but I said that I would accept it only if her mother apologizes. If she can convince me for her mother's sake, she should also convince her mother for our marriage's sake. Excluding you from the vacation after all you did to make it happen, and then letting her daughter stay silent about it? Heck no. Honestly, blocking the card and canceling the bookings was a bold move, but given how badly they treated you, it kind of makes sense. If they didn't want you there, why should they get to use your money? Update 1. Hey again. I wasn't planning on posting an update this soon, but things escalated faster than a toddler in a candy store with no supervision. So it's been 2 weeks since they got back from Italy. Meg and I are working through it. She's still hurt and embarrassed, but I think even she knows deep down she messed up. Like I mentioned, we were barely speaking at first. She was walking around like I'd personally ruined her dream vacation. The guilt tripping was in full swing. She'd say stuff like, "I just wanted to keep the peace," or, "You really embarrassed me in front of my family." I told her point blank, "I'm not an ATM. I'm your husband, and if you don't back me when your mother disrespects me, don't expect my wallet to back you either." She didn't like hearing that, but hey, truth isn't always soft. She tried to sweep the matter under the rug, but I wasn't backing off until Lily apologized. Else, I'm cutting her off. Neither my kids nor I would go to their place, nor she is welcome to mine. All this while, Lily has been radio silent. She hasn't spoken to me since. Apparently, she thinks I'm emotionally unstable, which is rich coming from the woman who booted her daughter's husband off the family trip and expected him to keep footing the bill. This Sunday, we got an invite from sister-in-law for dinner. She said it was a gesture to thank me for sponsoring the trip. At least I got a free ride one way and the first 2 days of hotel. I reluctantly agreed, purely to witness the mess unfold. And oh, it unfolded. The moment I walked in, Lily gave me the fakest smile I've ever seen. Like Botox glued to your face fake. She didn't say a word to me. Just nodded like I was the waiter who brought her the wrong wine. It was an awkward dinner, to say the least. Halfway through it, father-in-law brought up the trip. He thanked me again, said they technically wouldn't have made it there without me. Lily snapped, "Well, let's not pretend he did anything noble. He weaponized money to control the trip." Meg's sister choked on her wine. I leaned in and said, "You told me I wasn't family, so I removed the family card from the trip. Seems pretty fair, right?" She gave me this awkward look and said, "But you said it was a gift. Gifts don't come with strings attached." I nodded slowly. "You're right. Gifts don't come with strings, but they also don't come with conditions like, don't show up because you're not a real family." She went red. I mean, tomato meets sunburn red. Then she tried to flip it around and say I was emotionally manipulative and financially abusive. Her words, not mine. I calmly asked, "Do you even hear yourself? You excluded me from a vacation I paid for and expected me to just sit at home while you spent my money like Monopoly cash?" She tried to pivot, said I was being dramatic. That's when Meg's sister jumped in. "Mom, you did treat him like he wasn't part of the family. Honestly, you were kind of awful to him. Even my boyfriend isn't comfortable around you and asked me to stay away from you." That shut Lily up real quick. The conversation ended in awkward silence. Lily left shortly after the dinner, citing a headache. Father-in-law stayed back. He apologized again for like the third time. Said he couldn't believe Lily had taken it that far. He also told me, and this is wild, that during the trip, Lily tried to brag to some locals that she had secured a luxury trip through clever budgeting. Ma'am, that was my blocked card, not clever budgeting. The delusion is wild. We had a good laugh over it. Sister-in-law's boyfriend also joined us and shared some hilarious anecdotes about Lily falling flat through her ex on the trip. Lily is a tough nut to crack. Despite everyone calling her out for her narcissism, she hasn't apologized. She's in a weird limbo and hasn't tried to make amends. Instead, she sent Meg a long message about how I'm corrupting her values and teaching her to prioritize money over family. Yeah, says the woman who tried to kick me off a trip while spending my money like she won the lottery. As for Meg, she had some serious reflecting to do. After the dinner at sister-in-law's place, Meg admitted she mishandled everything and that she shouldn't have agreed to exclude me. I told her straight, this is a boundary moment. I'm not here to be Lily's piggy bank, punching bag, or scapegoat. We're doing okay now. Counseling might be on the table, not because we're on the brink, but because I want to make sure this doesn't repeat. Also, some people on my post are commenting that I should divorce my wife ASAP. For them, guys, grow up. I'm a middle-aged man, married for 15 years, have 2 kids. Please don't tell me what to do. Get a life. Anyway, I'm chilling. I've got my peace, my dignity, and I don't regret blocking that card for a second. Thanks again for all the support. The comments, DMs, and hilarious suggestions, especially the petty revenge ones, have been pure gold. Update 2. Alright, buckle up. It's been about 2 months since they returned, and Lily is still spiraling like a low-budget soap villain who just realized she's not in control anymore. I honestly thought things would simmer down after that brutal dinner, but nah. That woman doubled down harder than a blackjack addict on borrowed chips. First, she tried the martyr route, sent out this long, dramatic message in the family group chat titled, and I'm not kidding, "When Families Forget Their Roots." It was a rambling manifesto about loyalty, respect, and how money shouldn't come before love. She didn't name drop, but the passive aggression was so thick you could butter toast with it. Her closer? Some of us sacrifice our pride for the good of the family. Others hoard theirs like gold. I replied, some of us sacrifice our money for the family. Others spend it like it's not theirs. She left the chat for 3 days after that. Then she made a comeback with the fake reconciliation tour. She invited Meg and me over for brunch, and that too with a formal invitation via our mail, addressing us by our last name. I didn't want to go, but Meg said maybe her mom was finally ready to apologize. So we showed up. If you're following my posts, you'd know that I was enjoying the fun coming out of the situation. So the table was set, the food was plated, and I'll admit for a second I thought maybe this would be the grown-up moment we all needed. Lily opened with, "I just want to clear the air because misunderstandings damage relationships." Not apologize, not I'm sorry, just misunderstandings. She went on to explain how she only meant to protect her family energy and how I had taken things too personally. She then turned to Meg and in her extra sugary voice said, "Sweetheart, you've changed. You never used to speak to me like this." I looked at Meg, fully expecting her to deflate. To my shock and pride, she didn't and replied, "That's because I've finally stopped letting you treat my husband like a second-class citizen." I nearly dropped my mimosa. Lily blinked like someone just told her the earth was flat. Then she faked laughed and said, "You sound just like him now." Meg shot back, "Good. Took me long enough." Boom. Lily was burned. Brunch ended in silence. We walked out laughing, my belly out. Word is she's been playing the victim to anyone who will listen, saying Meg's under my influence, and I'm turning the family against her. No, Lily, you did that all on your own. Meanwhile, the rest of the family's vibe has shifted. Meg's sister and dad are way more friendly toward me. Even sister-in-law's boyfriend texted me saying, "Didn't realize how bad she was until this trip. Respect for standing your ground." Meg and I are stronger than ever. We've had some honest conversations. We agreed on one thing. Boundaries are non-negotiable now. If Lily wants to be part of our lives, she's going to have to come correct with a real apology and a whole new attitude. Until then, she can enjoy the echo chamber of her own entitlement. Anyway, that's where we're at. Thanks for sticking around. Y'all have been the real MVPs through this wild ride. If there's another twist, you'll be the first to know. Lily's refusal to own up and her ongoing denial just shows how deep the problem goes. Not with you, but with her sense of entitlement. It's wild she thinks she can paint you as the bad guy after everything she pulled. Also, props to Meg for finally seeing what was really going on and backing you up. It's not easy to switch gears and confront a parent like that, but it's necessary. This whole situation is a solid reminder that money doesn't equal respect, and sometimes you have to make the tough calls to protect your dignity and peace of mind. How far would you go to stand up for yourself and set boundaries with family, especially when money and respect get tangled up? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today in the rLounge. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time. And please put your chair back where you found it.